everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please give us a like and a subscribe. Click the button down below. Go on, it's free. Thanks very much. Right, just a quick one this time on your resin ratios. I was looking at Facebook yesterday and there was a poster who was asking about her resin ratio. And she was asking whether or not she'd mixed, well, she was saying that she'd mixed everything properly, she'd weighed out her resin correctly, and everything the next day was still bendy. Absolutely nothing wrong with the poster's question. The problem comes with the advice given in the comments. Let me just refer, if I may, to one or two. You cannot do it by weight. The density is different. 1-to-1 means exactly that. That is, I'm sorry to say, although the commenter probably means well, it's really bad advice, because not once did she mention that she had 1-to-1 ratio resin, and you can do it by weight. In fact, it's more accurate by weight. So there were a few more comments. A couple were quite helpful, and a couple, well, a few not so helpful, because people are assuming that the resin that they're using is exactly the same as everybody else's resin, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. Well, we're going to sort that out right now, okay? And it's really not as complicated as you might think, because somebody's giving advice like that. They're giving, there's 20, 30, 40 comments, and the OP doesn't know which one's right, which one's, you know, they're confused. They're even more confused as they were before, and their projects are still bendy, and they're not getting anywhere. So we're going to sort that out today. Resin ratio. It's very important, but you can do your ratios by volume, and you can do your ratios by weight. I use weight because I think it's more accurate. In fact, I know it's more accurate. Now, the problem is what resin you have. So the first comment that somebody should ask on a post like that is, what resin are you using? What is the ratio? Now, I've got two examples here. This is Glass Cast 3. This is a very thick resin, a very thin pore resin. It's like for a top coat. On the bottle, by volume, resin 100, hardener 57. So that's 100 parts resin to 57 parts hardener by volume. By volume, 100 to 57 is pretty inaccurate. You're not going to get a very good level of ratio there. You're not going to get that very accurate. Now, by weight, it's 100 to 50, which is obviously a lot easier. Get yourself some scales and measure by weight if you can. My other example is Vuba Vista Lake. Well, this one's actually Lake, Ocean or Marina, but the hardener is Lake. And this one is 100 to 45, so 100 to 45 by weight, and volume, it's got it written here, 100 to 50. Now you can see by volume that's 2-to-1, isn't it? But by weight it's not. It's 100 to 45. Now that might seem a little bit daunting by weight, but it's not. There are plenty of resin calculators, and what I'll do is I'll link one in the description below, where you can easily put in your ratio and then how much resin you want, and it will give you exactly how much weight to do in each one. For instance, I write them all down, so I know when I'm using, this is for the Vuba Vista Ocean Lake or whatever, if I need 1 kilogram, it's 689 to 310. So that's 689 grams to 310. Now, you don't need to be a mathematical genius to work this out, okay? You just need the resin calculator, all right? Now, the problem comes with the type of resin that you're using, because if you get your resin along and it doesn't say you can mix by weight, then yeah, fair enough, you can only mix that resin by volume. If it says weight, then you weigh by weight, and you can use a calculator. If the ratio isn't 2 to 1 and it's 2 to 3/4 or something ridiculous, then use your resin calculator to work it out. It's not difficult, guys. So going back to the OP, the poster, the first thing that we need to establish there is what resin they're using. Now, further down in the comments, this person put a picture of what resin they were using, and it said by weight, 2 to 1 by weight, and it gave examples on the bottle of 2 to 1 by weight, 150, etc, etc. And people were still going on, oh, you can't measure by weight, you can't measure by weight, you have to do it by volume. You don't. You can do either, but only if your resin tells you that you can. So please, guys, don't jump the gun and go straight in there with a you can't do this, you can't do that, right? Find out what resin they're using, okay? Find out if it's measured or it's ratioed by volume or weight, okay? It's really, really important that we give people good advice. And jumping in onto somebody's post and saying you can't do this, you can't do that, it all must be, I use this so it must be right, it's irrelevant, right? And it's not helpful to the resin community. Anyway, sorry about that. So I hope that has given you some confidence. Remember, you don't need to be a mathematical genius to work all this stuff out. If it's 100 to 45, use your resin calculator. Alright, if it says volume on the bottle, do it by volume, and use measuring cups. They've got little milliliter or whatever's written on the side of them so you can see your levels. Alright, don't just use a cup off the shelf. If it's got by weight, then do weight. It's far more accurate. Get yourself a pair of scales and do it by weight. Alright, resin calculators, linked in the description. Right. Whew. I'll link another couple of my videos, or one of my videos on the end of this, so you can see what I'm doing. And yeah, thanks very much, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers. Bye!